Doing another grid today where it's pick 3 movies and then the rest are gone. This time it's horror movies from the year 2024. So the first movie I'm going to get rid of is Smile 2. I know a lot of people really dug Smile 2, especially comparing it to the first movie, but I'm actually the other way around. I really liked the first Smile movie. This one to me was just okay at best. Yes, it had a really cool finale and cool moments sprinkled throughout, but if I'm looking at what's lined up here on the grid, I'm getting rid of Smile 2. Next, I'm going to get rid of A Quiet Place Day 1. I actually think this is the most emotional of the Quiet Place trilogy, and I think the characters are really well done, but if it wasn't for the characters, I actually think this movie isn't that good. Try and explain to me why, for a movie called A Quiet Place Day 1, where it takes you on the first day of the invasion, they skip over the invasion. If you remember this movie, our main character, she gets knocked out or blacks out during the invasion, so we miss majority of it, and when she wakes up, most people already figure out that they have to be quiet, so there's not even that learning curve in the movie. I think that's a really weak part of the film, so get rid of A Quiet Place Day 1. Next up, we're going to get rid of Abigail. I think Abigail is actually a pretty fun movie. Unfortunately, I think its biggest fault was actually the marketing, because in all the trailers and posters, they give away that Abigail and her family are all vampires. I think the build-up and mystery to that in the film is a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we're going into it already knowing that they're vampires, so a fun movie, but unfortunately the marketing let it down, so let's get rid of Abigail. The First Omen is going to be the next one that I take away now. I think a lot of people really dug The First Omen, and the more that I think back on it, the more I think, okay, maybe I was a little harsh on it the first time around, but with that being said, I still think the movie was a little bit too overhyped. I think it also doesn't help that it came out very closely behind the movie Immaculate. If you've seen Immaculate and The First Omen, you're pretty much watching the exact same movie, so I think that doesn't really help its case, so also get rid of The First Omen. In a Violent Nature is the next one to go. I am quite split on this one, because on one hand there's some really cool experimental elements. I like that we're watching a slasher movie from the slasher's point of view. It has some really creative and cool unalivings, some really good gore, but then on the other hand, about 60% of this movie is following someone walk through the woods. Yes, I got some good ASMR out of that, but otherwise I can kind of skip out on those moments. Like I said, I think a lot of people hate it for the wrong reasons, but I still got to get rid of In a Violent Nature. And last to go is going to be Longlegs, a really great performance by Micah Monroe, a really great performance by Nicolas Cage, a really creepy atmosphere and vibe. Unfortunately, this one sort of falls out of the grid by default just because there's 3 movies that I prefer over Longlegs, so got to get rid of Longlegs. That means the 3 movies that I'm keeping is my favorite horror movie of last year, The Substance, one of, if not the best slasher movie of the past decade being Terrifier 3, and then the movie that brought the fun back to the Alien franchise being Alien Romulus.